Hello, friends. We are in MOOC Swayam course on nationalism and constitutional growth in India, 1858 to 1920. Today, we are going to discuss about rise of cultural nationalism. As you know, for the last so many lectures, we are trying to grapple with, we're trying to understand with the concept of nationalism, nation, state, and how this particular ideology has been one of the potent force in not only uh, the positive sense, which is anti-colonial movements, but also in negative sense uh, of minoritization or pushing some of the communities who do not belong to the definition of nation as outsiders or foreigners or aliens or non citizens. So, ultimately, when we are talking about nationalism and constitutional growth, we here mean nationalism in the sense of the ideology which helped our freedom struggle to accomplish the freedom, the fruit of freedom struggle, that is liberation from the clutches of the British government, from that colonial yoke, and becoming a free, self-determined nation as a sovereign nation state. So in that sense, nationalism was paving the way for constitutional consolidation, demanding against the British government for more, uh, better rights and more representation of Indian people into the decision making process so that they will be able to determine their fate according to their own understanding of the issues and problems, and solving it what is according to them would be justified, not the foreign rule, rather the autonomous uh, individuals, citizens would be governing themselves, that what is called self-rule. So, so nationalism there was used to achieve that goal, to achieve that freedom. So, in the same vein, in the same process uh, of nationalism, there also comes the offshoot of nationalism, which comes out from that very ideology only, which becomes gradually exclusive ideology, which becomes an ideology which is going to now determine the fate of many people who think that they are part and parcel of the uh, you know the the formation of nation or formation of state. They are they are the citizens, and they are equal citizens rather, but the ideology which comes out by defining the very premise of nation, that who is part of the nation and who belongs to the nation and who do not belong to the nation. This definitional aspect, is kind of going to be parallel story since 1920s. So we have incorporated in the discussion of nationalism to understand uh, one of the organization led ideology called cultural nationalism. Uh, Especially, it was there on the national platform during the early days of freedom struggle by 1890s itself. People like Ranade or Aurobindo, uh, also to some extent, as I have deliberated upon, uh, people like Dayanand Saraswati and Swami Vivekananda, and later on the activities by extremists and also Anushilan Samiti or Yuganta or Ghadar Lala Hardayal's movement, all in a way kind of becoming the, and Lala Lajpat Rai's, of course, the idea of India as two separate nations, Hindus and Muslims, that uh, that has been already well thought out kind of manifestation of the spirit of nationalism flavored under the banner of that what we call culture or tradition or glorifying the past, like in Swami Dayanand Saraswati's Shuddhi moment or purification moment, which led to that what one can call the uh, conversion of Muslims again into Hindu religion. So more like proselytization mission. Also Hindi Urdu controversy, and then Swami Vivekananda and Swami Aurobindo, again kind of Aurobindo Ghosh, to to some extent all these leaders, they they in fact deliberated, they wrote, and they kind of pursued the ideology called cultural nationalism. So it's the cultural nationalism of 1920s, which one organization is leading, that is taking forward in more consolidated form and in more kind of activity oriented by envisioning India as a cultural nation based on religion, and hence there are communities who are not at all loyal to the land. Rather, their origin itself determines that their loyalty is towards the birth of their religion to some distant land. So this, in a way, becomes the bedrock of the cultural nationalism, and this also becomes the justification for various successor organization of Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, uh, since 1925 onwards, culminating into addition of new issues and new political actors who are going to join the kind of leadership of the uh, RSS, that is called Sangh Parivar. They become part of a Sangh Parivar. So we will be dealing with that in the uh, coming lectures. Uh, Prior to that, let us today ponder over some of the theoretical understanding on rise of cultural nationalism, whether this cultural nationalism is in any way unique kind of manifestation only reserved to our part of the world, whether cultural nationalism is only nationalism in India, or there are various other countries and states where cultural nationalism, in fact, is also their ideology. So we'll try to understand through some of the definitions and some of the scholars who have you know uh, who have in fact written about this ideology, and and let us see that what is the definition of cultural nationalism. It's a many uh, interpretations, various kinds of interpretation we may see while discussing about cultural nationalism. So, one definition of cultural nationalism is that it emphasizes preserving and promoting a nation's unique cultural identity, heritage, and uh, tradition, language, and values. So, what do we mean by that? Is that cultural nationalism emphasizes preservation of cultural heritage, of language, of tradition, and values. So, so any uh, kind of manifestation of nationalism which is taking culture as the marker, then the heritage or history, language, uh, tradition, value system, all combined can be called as a culture, and that culture is now going to be, uh, you know, that culture is going to be a superior culture. So when we want to promote and preserve, then obviously we are not going to promote any kind of inferior or weak or bad kind of culture. We do imagine that whatever is our part of the culture, language, values, that is superior vis-a-vis the other cultures. So when we have that imagination, when we have that kind of understanding that the culture which we are promoting need to be also preserved, because that is our culture, that is authentic culture. So this entire idea of authenticity that guides in a way that it should not be diluted, it should not be polluted, it should not, add any kind of foreign elements. It should remain original in its form. And when we say it should remain original in its form, we always try to glorify our heritage, our history, to just uh, look back in the past and then kind of judge our present according to our past. So, our past is going to be the standard, it's going to be model. So, some kind of kingdoms at some point of time in history is going to be resembled or is going to be imitated, and hence our reference point becomes that standard, that model which need to be replicated, right? And that standard becomes the um kind of goal, uh, and hence go back to that time, go back to, for an example, in Indian context, go back to Vedas, or go back to Mauryan Empire, or go back to other kind of kingdoms, which Vijayanagara Empire or other empires, where our reverence for those kings and those princes is basically because of the fact that we find it our present very problematic. And when our present is not into our hands, what I mean by that is, when our present is full of various kinds of issues and problems, the only escaping route for us as political actors, as political parties or as political leaders, is to look back to some models, so that we may correct our problems of contemporary times, or the best way to just escape is by blaming it, some of the immigrants or some of the people who can be dubbed as outsiders, and hence are very present uh, situation, uh, is because of the fact that it is not we or us who are the people who want to preserve and promote the authentic culture are responsible. Rather, it is the other, or it is they, or it is them who are responsible for our situation and condition and misery. What we can actually do is to imitate, our forefathers who led the successful kingdoms in the past. So it is it is in the sense that uh, the preservation and promotion of culture is understood in the sense of authentic and original, and hence any kind of dilution and any kind of pollution would rather disturb the system. And hence it need to be reminded that we have had a glorious past, and that glorious past can be again replicated. The only thing is to put some effort by pushing those people who are problem creators, right? So that is kind of that what cultural nationalism emphasizes. uh, Also, it in the very core belief is about unity and well-being. So unity of, again, exclusive, one nation, one language, one religion, one culture. So that kind of unity and well-being, again, for exclusive those people who belong to us or we, right? So it believes a strong cultural identity is crucial for national unity and well-being. So, what is your cultural identity? You need to be, following one religion. And if that religion subscribes to one language, you need to speak that language. You need to follow, the icon which uh, your religion and your, value system, subscribes to that kind of, icons, so or symbols. So in a way, that gives a kind of cultural identity, and that cultural identity is crucial for unity. So everyone is kind of same. So it rather promotes the sameness, the same kind of, and the unity here means the sameness, right? That, and of course the sameness uh, that determines the well-being of the same group of people. Also, it involves efforts to revive or protect traditional customs, art, literature, music, language, and historical narratives. So, as I said, that the persistent effort, continuous effort to revive or protect, traditional customs, art, literature, music, language. So it will be rather the cultural nationalist or the ideologues of cultural nationalism. They Their language would be always to kind of talk about revival, to talk about that we had something in our hand and we have lost it because of dilution, because of intrusion of some other people or group or community, and there is a rupture in the history, and we need to revive, we need to regain, we need to get back that glorious times, that glorious history, which was a golden era. The language would be always ornamental in terms of golden era we had, and we have lost it, and we need to revive again. And whatever markers, whatever symbols we have, we need to protect it. So protecting, language. So again, the very language promotion is part and parcel of that, activities of cultural nationalism. The music or festivals, and then also demarcating the boundaries, so that who can perform in particular festival and who should not perform, uh, this festival, so that one can maintain the purity of the festival itself. So who are supposed to perform, what kind of activity, uh, that is a kind of process of protection of the customs, arts, language, music, and historical narratives. So let us see in this same process what other people have defined about cultural nationalism. So cultural nationalism cultivates a moral community. What do we mean by that? Uh, there's a definition which says that focus is always on the revival of a nation's culture and moral community, right? So it's a, you know it the community which is going to be carved out of the entire cultivation through cultural nationalism is that the revival of nation would be only possible if one is going to follow certain kind of moral conduct, right? So because, as I said, that due to the various kind of dilution and pollution which has creeped into our culture, uh, you know that that is problematic, that need to be kind of trimmed, that need to be kind of cleaned, so that we can maintain the sanctity of the culture and sacredness of the culture and originality of the culture. So all these things are given into the hands of vanguards, or into the hands of those people who form certain kind of militia, certain kind of organization, who are going to be vigilante groups on the street or in the form of organization, who are going to check on with a kind of everyday routine discipline, so that they are going to be role model for the community, and that that ultimately is the cultivation of that moral community, which which goes through that rigorous process of training, and ultimately people getting attracted towards them, and getting their counsel as the people who are full of wisdom, and they are going to solve all the problems, because they are sacrificing ultimately in their everyday routine exercise. So that what moral community means. And ultimately, this cultural nationalism is different from political nationalism, where political nationalism emphasizes on political autonomy. Cultural nationalism emphasizes on revival of the uh, religion, revival of the culture. Cultural nationalism focuses on a revival of a nation's culture. It focuses on cultivating moral community. It focuses on preserving and promoting the uh, culture, language, art, music, tradition, custom. Uh, Cultural nationalism, gives a cultural identity, which creates a unity and well-being of the people who are considered as part of we, right? So let us also try to understand uh, this cultural nationalism, where it all began. So what is the historical origin of cultural nationalism? So it started in late 18th century Europe. So it's not something that when we are talking about cultural nationalism in our kind of MOOC Swayam course, to say that the cultural nationalism started only in India, but it had a history even in Europe, where the understanding of culture was, through the understanding of linguistic community. And I think I have deliberated and discussed on some of the topics on the formation of nation state, or post Treaty of Westphalia, that how the nation states were formed in Europe, and what were the markers of formation of nations. So if you can revisit and see those lectures, you will be immensely benefiting, and then you'll be able to understand that the very uh, definition of culture, or understanding of culture, is through religion and language. These are the ingredients of culture. So culture is a bigger entity: religion, language, custom, music, art, traditions, all are kind of part of culture. So under the banner of the culture, or umbrella term called culture, where all these things are kind of elements. So there is this emergence of historicism, where what we see that the very historicization or historicity, which also mean that uh, you know in the 18th century, the, uh, the scholars, they became very conscious about history. And when you become very conscious about history, you start writing about history, and then that actually leads to certain kind of historicism, where writing about your past becomes an exercise to know your past, and ultimately why it is so important to know your past, has also something to do with not only that you are going to know yourself in a better manner, but there is certain kind of politics to justify the present. We refer back to that, some kings and some kingdoms have done these mistakes, or some kings and kingdoms have done, this kind of act, so that we are doing it or we are not doing it. Uh, so much of the problem of the present may also be kind of, adhered to that it is the historical errors that we are facing the problem today. So in that way, the emergence of historicism has to also do something with the uh, kind of understanding of the past in terms of cultural revival, the cultural or revival of traditions, and also the Indo-European linguistics and romanticism. So again, the very romanticism in terms of that you create your certain kind of ideals, and and in that ideals what you're going to romanticize, uh, you know that everything is rosy and beautiful, and hence the very ornamental language, the poetry, literature, theater, all things are going to be part and parcel of creating that good feeling about one's identity and one's culture, and hence very eulogization of the rivers and trees, and nature, right? All those things to say that we live in a paradise, and why it is very important to preserve that paradise. So that kind of content started developing in the 18th century. Also, uh, political and cultural changes were leading to the polycentric worldview. So, in a way, in Europe, there's a lot of churning was happening in 18th century, and one of the great events that one can say about 18th century was the French Revolution, which took place. And in the terms of worldview, it was not really that one worldview which was dominating or going to dominate. So it was a secular worldview which was again coming to the fore. Uh, I mean, religious worldview, or kind of worldview projected by capitalism, or worldview projected by socialism. All kind of ideologies were kind of creeping into discussion and writings, which gave not one worldview but multiple worldview, and hence uh, the the kind of it also made conscious of everyone's imagination from their own vantage point, that uh, many worldviews are possible, and hence any worldview or any kind of thought process can be justified in the name of authenticity. So so hence I mean, if Indians are thinking about their own ideas and their own symbols and icons, so what's wrong in that? So that that kind of political and cultural changes were happening. So I'll stop here, and we'll move to, in the continuity of this, we'll move to the second part of the lecture on rise of cultural nationalism, to understand this concept in more nuanced way, so that we'll be able to relate it, all these theories, you know with not only the contemporary politics, but also the politics prior to independence of our country. Thank you so much.